All right, now that we went through the example, let's go ahead and do a couple problems together because setting up these problems can be a little bit tricky. This is from, we did this, now we're going to start doing this your turn, numbers 1 through 8. Okay, and I'm just gonna do it on a whiteboard because I need a whole lot more room. Number 1, moving at its top speed, a sloth would take 20 hours, so 20 hours, to go 3 miles. So 3 miles. Remember, we like distance over time. What is that in miles per hour? So I want miles per hour. Well, what is that in miles per hour? Well, 20 hours to go 3 miles, but I just want to list that with miles on the numerator and hours in the denominator. Well, how many is that? So I want miles, 3 miles. And how many hours? 20 hours. So this is how I'm going to list my rate. But again, I don't want 20 hours, I want 1 hour because that makes way more sense to my brain. So I need to get my denominator to not be 20 hours. I need it to be 1 hour. That makes sense. In order to do that, I'm going to divide my denominator by 20, which means I also have to divide my numerator by 20 because 20 divided by 20 is 1. So I really need to do 3 divided by 20, which I don't really know what that is as a decimal. So 3 divided by 20 is 0.15. So 0.15 miles in 1 hour. And we needed to round to the nearest hundredth. That is the nearest hundredth. So there we go. So I could also write 0.15 miles per hour. You might have also seen that. This means this. They are the exact same thing. So just, there we go. Number 2. It would take a sloth 130 minutes to swim 1 mile. So 130 minutes to swim 1 mile. What is that in miles per hour? I want to have miles per hour. Well, I have minutes. I'm going to need to change that to hours. But first of all, I want to have distance in my numerator and hours over time. So I'm going to rewrite this as distance, 1 mile, over time, 130 minutes. Okay, so here is how I want it to be. Miles is okay. I need to change minutes to hours. So I'm going to multiply by a conversion factor, okay? My conversion factor, I need to have minutes and hours. I'm comparing minutes to hours. Well, I know that 60 minutes is in 1 hour, right? So this is going to be my conversion factor. I'm either going to do 60 minutes over 1 hour, or I'm going to do 1 hour over 60 minutes. Both of these two things are saying the same thing. They're both a form of 1. But it just depends on which one I want to use here in order to get rid of this minutes. In order to get rid of minutes in my denominator, I need to have minutes in my numerator because I'm going to cancel numerator and denominator. That means this is my conversion factor that I'm going to use because minutes is in my numerator. So 60 minutes per 1 hour. All right, 1 mile in 130 minutes. I'm multiplying it by my conversion factor of 60 minutes per 1 hour. Again, this is just another fancy way of saying 1. Now I'm going to cancel out my units of measure. Minutes divided by minutes, they're gone. I am left with miles on top, which is what I want. And I'm left with hours on bottom, which is what I want. Okay, so my units of measure are right. Now let's go ahead and do the numbers. 1 times 60 is 60. 130 times 1 is 130. So I'm left with 60 miles in 130 hours. Well, I don't want 130 hours. I want 1 hour. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this down here. And I want this to be, I'm going to do something to it. I want 1 hour. I want however many miles in 1 hour. Well, in order to get 130 to 1, I'm going to have to divide by 130, right? Because 130 divided by 130 is 1. Oop, in order to keep this value of 1, I'm going to have to divide by 130 over 130. So now I'm going to find my calculator. 60 divided by 130 is 0.46. I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, so 2 decimal places. 0.46, and that is miles per 1 hour. So this sloth, can swim 130 minutes in 1 mile, or it can swim 1 mile in 130 minutes, which is the same thing as 0.46 miles in 1 hour. So a little less than half a mile per hour. So I could also write it like this, miles per hour. There we go. So that is numbers 1 and 2. Let's see if you guys, what can you do with numbers 3 through 8 with using conversion factors? Try your best. It might be a little confusing, but let's just see what you can do. Play around with it.